What is up, guys? This is week 9 of the All In podcast with Bad Beat Bryce and Ryan the Rock. How's it going, Ryan?
I'm doing well, Bryce. How are you?
Doing okay. Yesterday was a tough day.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of heads up matches, and I know you have been too. So it's
Right.
a good topic for today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we both have just all of a sudden went on this quick little kick of, I started watching you play, and Heads Up is just such an interesting game because Hold'em is already a pretty cutthroat game where in a lot of hands, and definitely the most significant hands, you're trying to get your money all in by the river. And in Heads Up play, you could play 400 hands, but you're going to get all in like 3 or 4 times.
Swings are nuts, man. I mean,
And it is nutso.
Yeah, I very much have. I mean, I have swings in a 9-handed game. Like, I'm
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
the person with the biggest swings just because I play a high variance play style, and I
nothing
play
wrong with that.
more hands than most because I have confidence in my in position post flop play. So.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I definitely look forward to talking about that.
Right.
But before we do, we had a submission from a viewer who basically recently was playing, I believe it was 30-60. It was 30-60 or 51 online.
Yeah.
And basically, this guy was just punting. It was late at night on, I think, a Friday.
Yeah.
He thought the dude was drunk. He kept asking him if he was okay. Long story short, he ended up punting about $1,000 in like an hour. So we're talking like 10 buy-ins in a 30-60 game.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he's like, should I have felt bad? Like, should I have stopped playing when this guy was punting all this money? Because there was also a family friend. It was like his dad's friend or something like that.
Right.
And I basically said, like, look, man, like, it sucks, and I think it's really nice of you to check in on him. But at the same time, if you don't take his money, someone else is.
You know what's funny, Bryce?
It's a cutthroat game.
Like, it is. And we should take this to Reddit. There is a Reddit line, and excuse my French, but it's called Am I the Asshole? My girlfriend is obsessed with it, and she would love this because she's always trying to decide these stories. This is one where I think you could honestly go either way with your opinion on this one, but I do agree with you that in that situation, like, people go nuts. People go nuts in the poker room. Like, if you're at the casino and the crazy drunk old guy is running around throwing his chips in the middle of the pot, like, there's nothing wrong with continuing to play. I just don't say.
I think it also depends. Like, if we're playing a home game and we know our buddy's putting life savings on the game, I'm going to say, look, man, stop playing. Like, we're just having fun.
But the problem is that if you say that, like, where do you draw the line? You know, that's a family friend.
Sometimes you don't know is the thing.
Right.
Like, you don't know people's financial situations.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people gamble with money that they can't afford. And
that does happen.
But if it's people you don't know, like, a lot of people make their livelihood off poker. You're not going to soften up and take it easy on a guy when, for all we know, you've been on a 10K downswing. If this dude's going to punt you $1,000 an hour in a 30-60 game, like, you're going to take it.
That's going to make your month. Good Lord.
You have to. So I think you just can't feel bad. I think if your goal in poker is for it to be a profitable venture, sure, it's fun.
And at the end of the day, it's
fun.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not your fault for continuing to play.
Exactly.
That person is still sitting there, and they made the decision to sit there and play the hands the way that they're playing them. You didn't tell them to do it. You didn't say you have to do this. The game is no limit hold'em, and if he wants to shove every hand pre-flop, God bless him. We'll call you with aces every time.
Exactly. If you see someone shooting up on the street, are you going to walk up to them and say, hey, man, don't do that?
Hey, man, if you see, no, it doesn't have to be that crazy. Like, you can walk up to someone who's smoking on the street and say, hey, man, that's bad for you.
Exactly. Like, you just don't do that.
Maybe you probably should mind your own business, you know?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. All right. So anyways, our podcast guest for the week is Mr. Chad Hoffman. Recently played a home game with him, and he doesn't live too far away. Great guy. Look forward to this interview. And we've been playing a lot together, been on Zoom calls. And without further ado, Chad
Let's
Hoffman,
bring him in here.
Welcome to the stream. How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah,
hanging in there.
Forward to it.
Have you recently gotten a haircut, Chad? It looks your hairline's looking sharp, my guy.
I just got it. Look at that nice little fade.
Ooh.
Looking
okay. That's awesome.
I didn't even know they were really open.
First one.
It's awesome. Looking
since
good.
the quarantine.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, we're like just starting to get stuff open.
So
it's amazing. Finally.
We'll just hop right in. So the first basic generic question we basically ask everyone is just, how did you get started in poker?
I started in poker about a year ago, seriously, and about 3 years ago, just messing around, any two cards, just rolling the dice. I was actually sitting in my apartment when I was a college football coach last year and kind of just taught myself. I'm sitting there and starting to do some research on positioning and which cards play well where. And I finally started to get this, I wouldn't say an addiction, but it was just like I was so
You
in
got the
love
itch.
with
You got
the
the bug.
game. I had the itch and I wanted to get better. And, I'm still learning, which you guys know,
Everyone
but
is,
I just
man.
wanted to get better. Yeah, and once my our college practices were done around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I would head down to the Hollywood Casino in Pennsylvania, which is about a half hour from me, and try and play at least a 4-hour session, and
Wait, are
then
you for
wake
real,
up.
man? Wait, which one? Do you mean the Charlestown one?
No, this one was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, were we playing at the same
I know
time?
Harrisburg.
I was like, that's crazy.
That's so crazy,
Yeah.
man.
That's cool though.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like my start in poker is so very similar. Like Bryce and I played together in
Mhm.
college, and like Bryce got me into it by doing literally the same things. Like anyone can get started in this game, and like you start by just
Yeah.
googling like super basic videos about like position and stuff like that, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you have a podcast with your friend Bryce who got you into this crazy game, and now you have a bankroll and you
Yeah.
play poker, and like whoa, and it's so fun. This
Yeah.
is
It's
what I
so
love about
funny
this
how
game.
you even got into it, Ryan.
It's so
I'm pretty
crazy.
sure- no, I'm pretty sure my buddy, my roommate, was hosting a frat pregame, and like I think Ryan just showed up. It might not have been frat. It might have been for his acapella group or whatever.
I think
And
it was.
we were
It was for
playing a
that poker.
game like on a Friday night while there was a party pregame going on in the other room. They're playing pong, drinking. I was like, no, we got to play poker. I'm not canceling my game. Like, and I think he just walked through, and yeah.
And then I sat
from
down.
there.
Uh-oh, we lost Chad's
We lost
face.
your video, Chad.
We hear the puppy.
He might be
Hold
taking.
on,
It could be a
no.
puppy check.
We
Yeah,
can
it could
stall.
be. It could be a puppy.
No. Can you guys hear me or no?
We can hear you.
Yo, what is
George.
up,
Okay.
Georgie?
Yeah, I don't know what.
The
I don't know
biggest
why it's
nit
black.
ever.
That's okay. We can
It's
just
all good. We'll
we
deal
can
with
keep
it.
rolling.
We'll deal with it. All right,
That's
Ryan, you
fine.
got the next one.
So, I know from conversations we've had before that you started out at a 2-5 stake. What gave you the confidence to just jump right in at those stakes? And do you think, in hindsight, that it was a mistake?
100% a mistake. I've always been a guy that just loved money and wanted the money in there and in there fast. And my first ever game was with my roommates, and it was like 25-50, which is fine. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but I
We
wasn't
started.
satisfied with winning. Yeah, and I wasn't satisfied with winning a max of like $60.
Yeah.
And my mistake was that you got to win money, a lot of money, fast mentality. But now it can be $10 one day, $100 the next day. You never know when you can have that $1,000 day. So I jumped in a 2-5 game at Hollywood Casino, and it was a disaster. I was playing rapid fire poker, just not my game because I lost a big hand, and I felt like I had to make it back just like that.
Yeah.
So my mistake was just having that mentality. And after that, I obviously went down to the lowest stakes possible at the casino and slowly built, I would say a bankroll, but a small enough bankroll to the point where I can play consistently after our practices.
When you
Okay.
backed off stakes, did you start playing limit, or did you stick with no limit?
No limit.
No limit. That's good. Okay. Anyway,
Yep.
continue, Bryce. I was
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah, poker is definitely not a get rich.
Not a get
Fast.
quick
Yeah.
screen.
And a lot of times Hollywood just glamorizes just playing poker and like shows these huge
Yeah.
pots and
Yeah.
just kind of makes people have these pipe dreams, and like it's hard. It's a lot of work. Like only like 5% of poker players are long-term winners. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. Travel expenses, rake, tipping the dealer. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things to consider, and you just have to put a lot of time into studying and improving your game. And game selection's huge as well.
I agree.
But I think that's good that you didn't just keep playing that stake, and you didn't have the mentality of, oh, now I have to get that money back. Like you finally had the come to Jesus moment, I guess, of like, oh,
Yeah,
shit, like,
that's a good way of
I
describing
don't
it,
wanna
too.
lose like thousands of dollars. Like let's build it the right way. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have that self audit and self realization to be able to do that. So I think that's awesome that like you did that, and I think
it's
you'll
great.
build it up the right way now.
For sure. Yeah, now I'm just so comfortable with 1-2, and obviously online it's 30-60, and then some 1-2 we play twice a week. That's
Yeah.
primarily my my favorite game. And also, guys, I apologize for the dog in the background. I put her in the bathroom, but she's still barking
She's
away.
You're good.
cutest
Is
thing in the world.
Is it storming there, man? I don't know if you're seeing the lightning happening here, but it's
so
freaking
bad here.
downpouring right now.
It's
Yeah,
coming
she's
for me
scared.
soon.
She's scared.
Yeah, I
So-
can understand that.
The other day,
Yeah.
we were at the brewery and Chad was telling a good story. So, Chad, what is your most insane gambling story? I think the viewers would like to listen to this one.
Oh man, if you guys have a lot of people watching this, you're gonna get some comments. So this doesn't involve poker, does it?
It did a
It does
little,
not.
didn't it?
It
Or
was
is
all
it
blackjack.
Just, it's all blackjack. Oh, I forgot. We'll take it.
all
That's all
blackjack,
good.
yeah.
They'll get over
Okay.
it. We love the G-Jins.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm on a spring break cruise on the Carnival Cruise Line with all my roommates, and we get there 11 a.m. the first day, and by 4 o'clock, we were drinking for the first 5 hours straight, and not a big drinker, but kind of let loose, had a little bit too much fun, and I'm like, where's the casino? So I go on this mission, I'm trying to find the casino, was gonna play some poker, and then
Water.
I don't want to sit here too long. Yeah, water. I don't want to sit here too long. Let's just go play a little bit of blackjack. But little did I know it would lead to a 15-hour blackjack session. So I'm sitting down there, and I go down $500 within probably an hour. That drunk mentality. It's like, oh man, I got to make that money back.
Oh my
2 hours
God.
later, maybe 3, I pawn off 500 more. So now I'm like, okay, got to make that back. Like I said, I don't remember this in the morning, so we'll get there. But my next one was $1,200 I took out. Yeah, so I take out $1,200. Was doing okay, got down to like 500, and then lost all that. So my next buy-in was right around. It was a total of around $3,200 total. So I took out when I play blackjack, it's like a max of like $300, but I don't do that anymore. So I take out a total of $3,200. By 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., my buddy came. He's like tried finding me multiple times. Finally found me. He's like, the last time I came to see you was at 1 a.m. We're all going to the club on the ship, and you're sitting there in your bucket hat, your beater, and your USA swim trunks with a posse of people. You have no idea who they are. And the first hand I see is you get an ace, and the second card comes, and it's a jack, and you hit blackjack, and you're $300 a hand. And this kid sitting next to you, everybody's cheering you on. You gave him $80 randomly, just handing out money. You had a stack of like $3,900. So realistically, I made all my money back plus some, and then I leave because I'm dead tired. I drop my ship card in the casino. Somebody must have picked it up, swipes it for $7.25, and I go down another $7.25. So I wake up. Yeah, I go to bed at 4:30. Yeah, I go to bed at 4:30. I wake up at 7:15. I check my bank account because I had an alert on there, and they're like, "You sent this much money, this much money, this much money, this much money," and I'm like, "What did you do? Why did you do this? What was the reason?" And like, I had no.
Dude,
really,
that is so funny.
at the
How
time,
much
I
had you had
really
to drink?
sit down.
That's
That's
insane.
nuts.
And moral of the story is, yeah, I ended up, I think, up still 280 something, and I could have been up a lot more. But moral of the story is that I should have been down everything.
No. The best part of the story is you said you didn't have the money.
I didn't have. Yes, it was credit linked to my chip card. Yeah, but my credit card max is high. So yeah, I didn't have them. I might have had like $600 to $700 in my checking because I was coaching college football, so I didn't have a great job. Yeah.
Overdrafted the account for blackjack.
And I was
Such a great DJing story.
Wow. Don't gamble on a credit card. Oh no.
So
Don't
embarrassing,
gamble on
but-
blackjack.
Facts.
No, it's fun every once in a while. But we actually talked
Never
about
gamble drunk.
that, unless you're gambling 30-60 with the boys.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You can do
All right.
that.
So, Chad, you were telling us that you got started purely by teaching yourself how to play. But what study materials are you using now? Like, what are you reading?
Can you say the question one more time? You broke up a little bit.
Oh yeah, totally fine. So the question was,
There you go.
what study materials are you using now? We understand that you started out learning just from watching videos and stuff. But what are you using now? Now that you've stepped up a little bit, played for a while.
Yeah, so I'm actually still I utilize YouTube a lot in the internet, and I'm a huge Negreanu fan. I think your last guest was Ken, and I agreed with a lot of things that Ken had said. And I think my next step is just ordering a book. I think I like to read some books because you can only learn so much through YouTube clips. But I really do like seeing the live feed that some guys post. I think it helps me a lot. But yeah, that's what I watch a lot, is a ton of YouTube clips, tournament strategy, whatever it is, mostly cash game. Not a big tournament guy. So cash game strategy online and YouTube, and just anything I can find, whether it's Facebook videos, does not matter. I just like to watch it and see what some guys are doing, and it's obviously different when it comes to the high stakes guys, because they're a little more
for sure.
reckless. They have
Totally
the money,
different
so I
game.
find
It is a totally different game.
Yeah. So I just try and find some videos where it's realistic, where guys are playing a little bit more smart in position, and not just throwing out under the gun 3-5 offsuit for $60-$70 raise. So just something that fits my style and stuff that I can get better on and adapt to, because George thinks I'm a little crazy. So
Yeah.
shout out to George.
Shout out to George. So we talked about a little bit playing drunk as well as just playing blackjack. So what do you think your biggest leaks are, and how are you working on fixing them? So a lot of poker players, they sports bet, or they're craps addicts, or something of that nature. So,
or they don't 3-bet enough.
Or I mean, there's just leaks outside of just poker strategy. But what do you think your poker strategy leaks are, and what do you think your life leaks are?
Yeah.
So I don't play any table games anymore. That was a long time ago. But I'd say
Good for you.
Top 2 leaks. Yeah, I'd say my top 2 leaks is one, that I'm overly competitive, and if I lose a buy-in, immediately I think like, hey, Bryce, load me up, or hey, where's the nearest ATM? So when I go to, I play at MGM, for example, or Maryland Live, when I go there, I take a certain amount that I, can afford. Not really afford, but I don't mind losing, and I set a time limit. So if I have 24 hours a day to play, I limit it to an 8-hour session. If I have 15 hours a day to play, I'll limit it to a 6-hour session, and I'll stick to that. Whether I'm winning or if I'm losing, I stick to that certain hourly. So that I think that was my biggest leak. And my other one is post-flop strategy with certain hands. I think Bryce and I spoke at the home game, and I was like, what's your – I mean, I sound like I'm such a beginner when I ask this, but I think a lot of people still struggle with it, is how do you play ace-king from under the gun and then from in position, and how do you bet at post-flop? Because I think it is differently.
We need to talk about ace-king. Ryan played ace-king bad yesterday, but continue.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that, and I would have done the same thing, honestly, because it's just one hand that you think you're so strong, and then even when the flop comes, especially if your head's up, you're probably still good. Honestly, you probably are, but I just don't.
Just an aside for the listeners. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so basically the hand yesterday, Ryan had ace-king, and the flop was like 10-5-3. The other guy was on the button. He c-bet small. Ryan snap folds. What? The guy could have a 10. The guy could have a flush draw. The guy could have nothing. He was also c-betting at basically 80% frequency. Do you think he even has a 10 or a flush draw half the time there? Like, you can't fold ace-king.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll go back to chat.
I don't know. It's a confusing hand, and the same goes with, on the flop. I got stuck in a hand where I pocket kings with a spade, and the flop was 7-8 jack with 2 spades, and I had a healthy raise to like 25, I think, and the guy just ships it for, or it was like 75% of his stack he ships, and how do you get away? I mean, how do you get away with that? But you should be able to, and that's where I get lost at points, because it's happened multiple times.
It's tough. It's very player dependent.
Yes.
Sizing tells. It's just really knowing each individual opponent, because if like Trollin did that, I'm snap calling him with kings. But against a player like C4, as I think the hand you're referring to, I think you just have to let it go.
Yes. And I especially think one thing here is like, this is a key thing for especially players who don't play with people that they play with a lot. Especially people you don't play with a lot, you should be mindful in spots like this. Like, especially if you've just joined the table, you've only been there for 15, 20 minutes. That's like a spot you can fold and be like, I'm going to watch this guy and see, does he do this more? What is he 3-betting with? What is he showing down when he 3-bets? So I feel like it's something that, like, if it's someone you don't know, you can fold that very often and then just watch them and be like, what do you have? How do you play those kind of flops later on?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Right.
All right, we got one more question for you, and then we'll go into your hand history.
Okay, so what are your main poker goals?
Honestly, just to continue to build a small bankroll. I'm never going to play big anymore. It's about, a lot of people say this, but it's about fun for me. I truly enjoy the game. I enjoy the feeling of getting those 2 cards tossed to you, just sitting around having a few beers with your friends. Love home games. So I think now that we're in this club and the guys that are, I think some of the guys that are in this club, we met some friends last week through the club, and I just plan to just have some fun with the home games. My job doesn't give me the opportunity to play more than I want to, because if I could, I would play 5-6 days a week. So I'd say my main goal is to play at least 3 times a week, mostly on weekends. And text the boys and see if they want to go up, play a few sessions, have some fun, have a drink.
Yeah.
On to the next week. So nothing serious.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's
Nothing
still
wrong
a
with
good
that.
mentality, and I think a lot of people just keeping it recreational and keeping it fun. Because if you always have the intention to profit, like, it sounds like you have the mentality: if I lose $300, I lose $300. Like, if you have a good time with the boys and like you're winning some, you're losing some, breaking even. I mean, obviously you want to be a profitable player.
Yes.
But
of course,
entertainment. You have a job, you're doing well for yourself, and I think it can definitely be a profitable venture. So yeah, it's awesome. So Chad recently,
like when we go down.
Oh, you can go.
Sorry, like when we go down to George and I go down to Tampa Bay, and we're going down to the Seminole, and it's just be a fun trip. So I'm gonna take it serious, play as if I was, semi or professional, whatever, to make money. I want to win. You got to be competitive, and you got to love the grind. So it's not just a fun game. It is a competitive game, and your main goal is to make the guy next to you go broke. So.
For sure. Well said. Especially if it's your buddies.
I mean, hey man, online too. I want to see your money. Come on now.
You gotta. All right. So Chad played a hand at the MGM, which is 1-3. And we're gonna go over that hand. So I actually have not looked at this because I kind of wanted to watch it live. But Ryan has. So
yes.
Do you want to just explain the table dynamic? So our Paul is actually Chad here.
I apologize. My thing freaks out.
But yeah, so how had your session been going? How is the table? Any information like that? Radio silence.
Chad. Come in, Chad.
Maybe he's dealing with the dog again. We can hear you.
Now
again. What was that?
You. Yeah.
All right, dope.
Go ahead.
All right, so Chad is... Oh, okay. We wake up with aces.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we have a limper. So we have 2 limps, and you raised to 15.
We're playing 1-3.
I think that's pretty standard. Could maybe even go a little bigger here, but I think at least 15 is good. I'd probably go 18-ish, 18 to 20, but I mean, I think 15 is fine. What do you think, Ryan?
I agree with that too. I think just because specifically you being on the button, people are going to perceive your range as wider, that you kind of get that benefit here so that you can go a little bit bigger, and they're not going to give you credit for aces because you're, opening under the gun and then 3-betting, So I think because people are going to perceive your range as wider raising from the button here with 2 limpers in front, you can go a little bigger to exploit them.
I think also, you probably don't know this as much, Ryan, but people like to raise huge. Like, people standard open. It's not weird to do
at
10
MGM.
to 12. Yeah, MGM. Like, people will just open raise to 12.
Yes,
like
that does happen a lot.
Mine's 15. I mean,
well, I mean, 4x isn't crazy, so I was thinking 1-2 games. But yeah, no, people will raise to 15 plus. But yeah, anyways,
easily.
let's. I'm assuming we got some callers.
We get callers from the blinds.
Everybody.
Everybody
Everyone
calls.
calls
Everybody.
five-way. And that's also the issue. Because if you'd gone to 20, you may have only got 2 callers and gone 3-way. 5-way with aces is not the most ideal. Obviously, you have positional advantage.
Nah.
But, yeah, this could be a scary hand. So 9 king queen. Pretty scary flop. Really scary flop.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it checks to you, and you decide to bet 40 into 75. So what was your logic in betting a little over half pot here?
Truthfully, I was scared. Anybody can have 10 jack here. Somebody could be
Yeah.
with a pocket pair, king queen offsuit's realistic. So when it checks around, I'm like, all right, realistically, somebody has to have a piece of this. So I just bet big, just try and scare people off. That was my logic there. At least a little over half pot. See what I got going on, and we'll see what happens after the turn.
Makes sense. Okay, so I actually think you should be sizing up a little bit here, and I think depending on the action, you could potentially bet fold. Like if it goes bet, call, raise, I
Right.
think people could have a ton of hands: pocket nines, 10 jack, king queen. I mean, obviously they could have a bunch of bluffs too, but just based
Yeah.
on strength. And if you bet 50, I'd look to bet a 50, 55. I mean, against 5 players, you expect at least somebody to have some sort of draw, some sort of equity. King jack continue, king 10 continue. I think a lot of hands can continue.
You
and I don't
also-
think you're folding out everyone ever here.
And you also don't block the nut die. You don't block the nut draw with the ace of hearts. So that's another important note to your too. Is that you don't have removal from that hand. So that's something that can continue here when you give them a price like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
small blind folds, big blind folds, and it's back.
One of the
all
lumpish
right, and
folds.
cut off
I'm
calls.
feeling great right now.
Yeah, that's great. You weeded out the
Yeah, I'm
field.
feeling great.
I don't mind the bet. I mean, 5-way, it's kind of crazy, but you don't want to check and let 9-5 get there, because 9-5 might fold to your aggression. But I don't fault you for the flop bet. But now here comes 5 of clubs. I'm pretty sure that's Brick City. What do you
Amazing card.
think?
Yes.
What do you do?
Now I'm sizing up. Now I'm feeling great. I bet 110-ish, I want to say.
Well,
So I bet about 110, and now my mindset is
I
he
think you
calls
went
me
less.
with 110.
You went 90.
You went
Okay.
90.
Did I?
Yeah,
What I go?
I don't. I
90,
like
90,
110
yeah.
a lot more
So now-
than 90.
I do too.
Yeah. Now I'm still thinking. I'll let the hand roll through, but I'm thinking once I bet 90, if he calls, I don't think he's calling me on a draw. The guy was a good player, smart player, really efficient, and he wasn't just throwing his money away.
Right.
I would size up. If he's calling flop, I don't think he's folding most turns unless he has exactly a diamond draw. And he could have a ton of hands. I think king 10, queen 10, queen jack all continue here.
Right.
With straight equity and a pair. So I think for that reason, I would look to size up. And he didn't raise you on the flop. If he had, say, pocket nines or king queen off, I think you hear from him on the flop or on the turn, which it puts you in an interesting spot. But I think you need to size up here. But let's see a river.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
queen
that's
of
where my
hearts.
confusion landed.
Yeah. So oh gosh. Okay. So what did you bet when he raised to 330? You bet
No. He checks. The villain checks.
No, villain checks, and
Yes.
you bet how much?
156 into the pot.
Or
Or 150 something.
I don't like a
155
bet
maybe.
here.
I agree.
Because I think you can only really target
165 was the bet.
king jack, king 10, 9 jack, maybe probably
that's what I was
folds. That's
targeting,
pretty
yep.
speculative. 9, 10, but at the same time, I think if you get raised, you have to fold.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'd put yourself in that situation when you have a good showdown hand and he has a ton of queens, queen jack, queen 10.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say
like-
that a lot of the things that he's going to flat you with on flop and turn, like all of his queens just got there. Like you're in a lot of trouble. So I think when he checks it to you, it's a gift.
Yeah.
It is a gift for you to check this one back. But you do decide to bet 156.
Right.
And he raises you. It's a min raise. He only min raises it, which I also really kind of like. brutal. What do you think when he min raises you here? There's a lot in the middle. You're getting crazy odds.
Oh man, I was pretty upset. I tanked for no longer than probably 2 to 3 minutes, but in my head I knew I couldn't call. I was trying to rep King's Fool, or at least Ace Queen, and sure enough, when you
Do
flip
you
over
think
his hand,
repping Ace Queen makes sense
it wasn't
though?
a hand that I thought he had. I thought he played it really well. So I was just very, very frustrated after that hand because I knew I donked off like
You know
$200.
what's crazy? Oh my goodness.
So
It's
at
so
least at the
crazy.
minimum.
He's getting like Bryce, his odds, I just did a little quick maths. He's getting like better than 6 to 1 on a call here.
You can't call.
But you can't call. That's the most brutal thing in the world here.
Like what bluffs can you put him
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I actually can't hear you for some odd reason right now.
on? We can't.
Oh, his face came back.
We can hear. Oh, there we go.
I think the only one is like Ace Jack of Diamonds. Literally, I think that's like pretty much it.
And
But-
does that really min raise? Like, what is he?
Yeah.
Does he think he can fold? Like, you could still have King Queen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Is the min
I don't
raise is
think-
the brutal part.
I
If
don't think
shoves,
he would
it's
raise
easier.
it. I think he just has it all the time. But I
Right.
think he has Queen Jack is the holding that I'm putting him on.
Interesting.
Because I think Queen 9 you might hear from. I mean, obviously you could still have King Queen, Pocket Kings, Pocket Queens, but I think your sizings. I think you would size up there. I still think you should have sized up turn, and I think you potentially could have folded. Maybe I think Queen Jack probably calls anyway, but if you size up a ton, he might fold it out.
But yeah,
But I like your fold on the river. I think he's good here.
Bryce, are you prepared
basically
to
all
hear
of the
what the
time.
villain's hand is?
Oh my God, I have. Is it a bluff?
No, Chad was told later that it was pocket nines.
Okay, wow.
Interesting, right? I honestly, I don't fault him for the slow play at all. But then again, like,
I completely disagree. Raise turn.
yeah, because that's the thing is like you also
If a
being
diamond
the raiser
comes, do you
from the
call?
button, and also like you have all the king queen, and like you have all the queens that could possibly be like you have king queen really, but queen 9 you have boats here that are better than his sometimes, but not that he's going to fold the boat on the river. Regardless, it's just crazy min raise.
Yeah, crazy min raise. LOL at George thinking he could have ace king of diamonds. I don't think he has ace king of diamonds like ever here, but sometimes nits like to limp, I guess, in the cutoff. I don't do that normally, but it's okay, George. But anyways, yeah, Chad, I think this was a tough spot. I think you size up on turn, and I think you just check river. But obviously, it's a tough spot. I think you made a good fold. Folding aces here with 6 to 1 price, like Ryan said, is tough. But I think you're just never good here. Who min raises this board given the action? So nice fold there. But yeah, I mean, lesson learned. But I don't think you played it horribly. I just think you should be checking river if you have the intention of folding to a raise. If that makes sense. I don't know if you can hear us.
I don't think you can really hear us, so it's good.
But anyways, you will hear this later, Chad, if you can't hear it now. But very much appreciate having you on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Look forward to more home games with you. Look forward to mixing it up on Poker Bros and the Zoom calls. But thank you very much for joining us today, Chad, and appreciated your stories. See you, buddy. Well, he definitely couldn't even hear that, but it's fine. That was pretty funny.
That was awesome.
So our next pair, so Ryan just started playing someone that I'd been playing heads up.
Yeah.
His name is Anthony. He's a good dude. We had I think we played 9 sessions and had some big pots. We were playing 2-4, but Ryan is just playing 51, just getting the heads up game. Oh, buddy. So you made the hand on share my pair, and you did it cash game. So there's 3 people, even though it's heads up. So
I can't. Oh, can you do it heads up?
Yes, you can. You
Oh,
have
I'm
to make it
sorry.
a tournament hand, though.
Oh, that makes sense.
But anyways,
Uh-oh.
so we have this
Megan
very
TV
low
has a question.
quality.
When do you say go fish?
All right, let's share this.
Yes.
Do you have an answer to that, Ryan?
You say go fish every time the cards are dealt to you, and the flop comes. Or I'm sorry, every time the flop comes, you yell go fish. That's when you do it.
Ryan, I am very upset by this. It's a heads up, and we have 3 people in the hand.
I apologize.
Okay.
Obviously, the
Well,
small blind is going to fold. We can imagine. We can imagine.
Ryan, who is this? Is this
That's my my
dad?
dad. Yeah.
Okay, I figured it was your dad, but your dad's a troll. I love it.
It's
Anyways,
brutal, man.
So we're playing 51. Ryan's got 6-7 off. Quite the premium hand. Raises 3x standard. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
makes it 13.
Yeah, I call.
Did you say you have to call?
No. I said and I call, and that's
definitely
something we could talk about.
Yeah. So I don't think he 3-bets that. I don't know. It's weird. He folds to a lot of 4-bets, but I feel like he's probably doing this with, I don't know, some suited connector, which I think he lets go to a 4-bet because he lets.
That's what I was about to say,
which is just so interesting.
Is that this hand specifically 6-7 offsuit is something that should be almost. I think of it as a 4-bet or fold kind of situation here. Where, like, especially with the stack sizes and stuff, where I've been beating up on him for a little bit, like, the max buy-in's 200, I'm up to 460, like, things are rolling here. I think a 4-bet here is going to get credit a lot of the time.
I don't think you should be 4-betting this hand, especially when it's tilted. I think he's going to be calling.
I think
more.
That's another way to think about it.
I don't know if I should say tilted, but just adjusting, because he then switched his strategy to 5xing pre-flop.
Yeah, I don't think either of us really got tilted.
Anyways, the call's fine. Flop 7, 10, 4, 2 spades. I'm sure he probably leads out. Yeah, he leads for 15 into 26. Yep. You make a call. When you're calling the 6-7 offsuit, you just have to continue. I think really flat's fine. Flat's standard. I don't think there's anything else you could do differently.
I agree. You have 3 parts to a straight. You have a pair. You can make 2 pair. You can make straight draws. A lot of things can happen for you on the turn. There's just no point in folding this.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have 56 in the pot. And the turn brings a 5. Interesting card.
I think it's
an open-ender with a pair.
Yep.
And he bets 44 into 56. Ooh, interesting. And you flat. 44 is a healthy sizing. What are you putting him on at this point?
Yeah, I'm putting him on over pairs.
We are
a lot of over pairs. A lot of over pairs. A lot of I don't think there's very little 10x that is in his like 3-betting range. Maybe like ace 10, definitely ace 10, definitely king 10, maybe queen 10. So like there are a lot of combinations that contain 10s that are going to go here. But I think I mainly weighted it at the time towards over pairs, like jacks plus.
I mean, because of this board, I think you could have a wide range of
hands.
Hands.
And he can have a lot of hands containing just 2 overs. Ace king plays it this way.
8, 9 of spades. I could easily see
he
him
can have 8,
having.
9. Absolutely.
I think he still has a wide range of hands, but I think you just have to call here.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think there's any sense in raising.
Yep.
Especially because he has 128 behind. I think he's probably calling
just
off
gonna,
here.
Yeah, he's just gonna stick it in.
And you don't want to get it in with
no
and a pair. So the river comes a 10, and now I know what hand this is. And he jams.
Ships it.
So I remember you being in a pretty tough spot. We were on the call.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to let this go.
Yeah.
I think his value range here, he just has way more value hands than he does bluffs. It's just interesting because a 10, I think, do you think you raise flop on a 10 when he bets into you? I think most of the time you don't, but because he could still have an overpair and what calls you know what I mean? Like let him hang himself out of position. So I think he probably has something like ace 10 here, maybe quads.
Yeah, I mean quads.
I think he's just so strong here because I think you could have some 10s in your range. And why would he turn his hand into a bluff if he has jacks or queens? He could lead for 60 and then just call off anyway. But he could get value from, say, I don't know, if you had ace 7 or if you decided to call with 6-7. Because I think if he bets 60, you might just call. So I think jamming shows a ton of strength. And unless he has a hand like ace 7, ace king, ace queen of spades, I don't see him.
That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, the only natural bluff that he has here is like a missed spade draw that just decides to go with it. But I didn't really weight that super heavily.
So
I was like, that's so few combos.
I think you need to fold this, and you do, and you end up asking him what he has, and what did he say?
He had king 10 of diamonds, which I think makes a lot
king 10 of diamonds.
sense.
So interesting. I think that's a lot of information that he's re-raising you pre-flop out of position with king 10 of diamonds. It's a little loose.
Yeah.
I don't hate it
No,
at
no,
all.
it's definitely like bottom of range,
Um,
but still, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of information and kind of shows that he's definitely not, or he's definitely willing to mix it up here.
I agree.
But I think you made the right fold here.
Yeah.
So pretty standard hand.
We had a conversation about it, which I think was interesting over text, where we had a conversation about the math, and he actually has the opposite opinion. He thinks that it's a call.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think it can be a call there sometimes. I think
yes,
it also depends
I think
on
it
the
can
dynamic.
be sometimes.
I think if he's
Did we just lose Bryce?
think he's trying to steal, but I think given the dynamic and given that he's a competent player,
yeah,
I think you should make the fold.
Yeah, and that's what I did.
And alrighty, so this next hand was last night, playing 2-4 against this guy Sam. I hate bombs, really great guy. Actually, friends of the guy Ryan's been playing. So we're pretty deep here. I'm 1,100 deep. He's 1,400 deep, and let's see the hand. I don't even fold laundry.
I definitely fold my laundry.
You do fold your laundry.
It's very neat.
So I am on the button with. Okay.
With what hand, Bryce? Bryce, would you like to tell us?
I have pocket threes here. So I raised to 14, pretty standard. And he makes the call. So the flop is pretty favorable. It is 3 queen 5.
He just said
and wait, is that right? Who bet 14? Was it me or him? 1 second. Wow, I'm showing.
Whoa, behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Oh yeah, I messed that up. So he checked. And I bet 14, half pot he called. I think half pot's fine here. I don't see him having too many fives. I actually think ace 5 would look to 3-bet me pre-flop heads up. So, and I think he doesn't have ace 3 very often because I have pocket threes, so I block that. So I think I'm just targeting a queen here, and that's why I size up pretty big. I mean, half pot on this pretty dry board. I mean, I'm also targeting, say, 4-6 or something of that nature, which I think just continues anyway. So I think that's why
I have an interesting
50% instead of 40%. So what do you think about that side?
I have a follow-up question for you, and I think this also ties into kind of the discussion we were having at the beginning. Is in this situation where you flop a set on a really dry board like Queen 5-3 Rainbow, heads up, I see there being absolutely very. I don't know. Actually, this is the interesting point. Is there any merit to checking back here, heads up, or is there more merit to checking back at like a 9-handed table?
I'm c-betting. I think there's way more merit at a 9-handed table, and I think I'm c-betting about 80% of flops. So I think it almost looks strong if I check it. Especially because what am I afraid of? If he has a,
that's the difference,
I have way more queens than him, so I think I need to rep my range. I think I need to bet here 100% of the time, to be honest with you.
I agree.
In a heads-up game, so that's my logic for betting there. But good point. So a 4 on the turn. I mean, 6-7 gets there. But other than that, so what the heck is happening with this hand? Why did that go so quickly? What was the action? I'm refreshing. I apologize.
It was a bet and a raise.
Check
bet. He check raised you.
So he checked. I bet. I think I sized up a little. If I remember, I bet like 40 into 56. If I'm going off.
And then he went 120. So yes, that's correct. That's exactly I think how the action went.
Yeah. So I bet 40 into 56, and he made it 120. So I'm honestly not that afraid of at this point. He could have just such a wide variety of hands.
Oh my god!
So yeah, he made it 120. It's a little scary, but at the same time, I have a set. I'm never folding. He could have a set of 4s that continued, which would suck. But I still think he has a lot of hands like 4-6, even a flush draw that decided to just float flop. For an okay price. Let's say he has like 5-6 of clubs. I think
or ace-x of clubs
would raise here, or ace-x of clubs, exactly. So I think he just has a ton of semi-bluffs in his range, and I think I'm ahead 90% of the time here. But I also don't want to re-raise him back and just get a fold. I'll let him hang himself on the river. So I'm planning to check call most rivers. I mean, if
you're
it's
not
a club,
checking, he's checking.
And he just like, Oh yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
you're betting.
I expect to call most
Yes.
rivers. No, I don't even know if I'm betting. It depends because I don't expect to get value from worse.
Right.
So anyways,
Right. Let's see what the river is.
296 in the pot. It's an ace. 4-liner to the straight, but how many deuces does he have here? I think is the question, and I think the answer is not many. So he bets 190, and I feel pretty good about my hand. I mean, what does he have here? Deuce 6, never. 6
No.
7, sometimes. I mean, yeah, he could have 6 7 sometimes, but I just think he has way more bluffs. And I think if he had a hand like, gosh, I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
If this was the ace of clubs on the river, would you think differently about this bet?
I'm calling.
You're
I'm
calling.
not raising. I'm calling. I have
But you
to
still
call.
think you're calling off, yeah.
100%. I mean, he could still have straight draws. Like I said, it's not like the only hands in his range are flush draws. 'Cause
Right.
What is he floating flop with?
Probably strong queens.
Yeah. And do you think a queen can raise a turn? Is an interesting question. Do you think if he has a hand like queen jack, queen 10, do you think he's raising turn?
I think maybe ace
I don't
queen
think he is.
with the ace of clubs.
Yeah,
could
but
consider to
is
do
he
that
really
with the nut blocker?
Is he gonna play the way he did pre-flop? Is he not gonna re-raise me when I raise the 14?
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. We probably
So
we
I
heard
don't,
from
I don't see
three.
him having ace queen here often.
Yeah, he's capped
And
his
I
range
think
to a certain degree.
he's repping the straight. He doesn't
Yeah.
have. I could still have pocket queens here. And I would
Yeah,
play it
you
honestly
could.
the exact same way. Like I think he's bluffing just the vast majority of the time here. Probably with some sort of blocker. And I call, and he flips over Jack 7 offsuit. So yeah, he really just blocked 6 7, but kind of a crazy bluff.
No,
on
it's
his
all good.
part.
I mean, like, some people will just go like they'll just get into a hand and they'll just be like, I am going to try to bluff this person off this hand. It's like,
Yeah.
going for he had a plan, I think, going into the turn there, where like when he checked, he definitely had the intention of check raising you. When you called, he had the intention of barreling on rivers that were going to be scary for you, like the ace of hearts.
So do you think the ace is scary? Because I don't think
It's
that
not,
scary.
because you have a
I don't
set
think he
here,
has
but I'm
deuce
saying
6 here ever.
against right. But I'm saying against your range, which could
Yeah.
contain queens and stuff, and ace would be more scary. He also bet. Did he bet like kind of small, which I
He
didn't
bet
like.
like 150 or something.
Yeah,
I
so he
mean,
made
if
it kind of
he
a simple
barrels,
call.
I'm still calling. Like if
Yeah.
he has ace deuce, I don't think this ace changes much. If anything, I think it's good for my range because I have pocket aces or
Correct.
ace queen, which plays this the same way too.
Right.
So I think the ace is good for me. While it puts a 4-liner to the straight, if he had a deuce in his hand, he already got there. If he had ace deuce or somehow just like deuce 6 of clubs, he was already there.
And that's the key point, is that ace deuce would have already been there,
Yeah. So I think it's pretty standard. I think there's absolutely no point to raising when there's given the action, him raising turn and 4-liner to the straight. So I think I played this hand fine. I think I played it well. Gassed myself up a little. But yeah, I mean, Sam's definitely a fun player to play against, and I like that he puts bluffs like this.
Yes. Heads up, like you got to do this some point,
You gotta. So yeah, I look forward to keeping you guys updated on our 2-4 battle and see if Ryan can climb out the hole after his first session against Anthony. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you again to Chad. Thank you to the viewers. Not you, George. I don't like nits. But to everyone else, thank you so much for tuning
Thanks,
in.
Dad.
And look forward to next week's episode. See you guys later.